Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday.
Hiya, pal.
Deck the halls with Barb and Harry.
Yes!
Make their Christmas not so merry. Give them bricks and give them riches. One more Christmas in the trenches. Toss some paint cans down to greet them. Send the toolbox down to meet them. Serve them meals for Christmas dinner. Kevin is declared the winner.
May I do the thinking, please?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
You wearing aftershave? That's kerosene. Now why would anybody soak a rope in kerosene?
Merry Christmas.
Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to cover the movie Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, from 1992. The studio was 20th Century Fox, the release date was November 20th, 1992. The running time, 120 minutes, and it was rated PG. The budget was $28 million, and the box office took in $173 million. It was the second ranked movie of 1992. If you were wondering what was number one, it was Aladdin. Roger Ebert at the time, well, he gave it a meh review. He gave it 2 out of 4 stars. Let's remember, he wasn't much of a fan of the first film. This is no surprise he didn't really care for the second one. All right, here's his review. I have a feeling that Home Alone 2 Lost in New York is going to be an enormous box office success, but include me out. I didn't much like the first film, and I don't much like this one, with its sadistic little hero who mercilessly hammers a couple of slow-learning crooks. Nor did I enjoy the shameless attempt to weave in the mayhem by including a preachy subplot about the pigeon lady of Central Park. Call me hard-headed, call me cynical, but please don't call me if they make a Home Alone 3. Great line. I know, the violence is all a joke. Some of the gags are lifted directly from old color cartoons. And in the spirit, what we're looking at here are Roadrunner adventures, with the crooks playing the role of Wile E. Coyote. As the two hapless mopes fall down ladders and get slammed by bricks and 500 bags of cement and covered with glue and paint and birdseed, you can hear the cackling of the old Looney Tunes heroes in the background. And just like in the cartoons, the crooks are never really hurt. They bounce back, dust themselves off, bend their bones back into shape, and are ready for the next adventure. When little Kevin, Macaulay Culkin, taunts them, "Hey, up here," he sounds like Bugs Bunny. And when they chase him, always unwisely, they're in the tradition of Elmer Fudd. The problem is cartoon violence is only funny in cartoons. Most of the live-action attempts to duplicate animation have failed, because when flesh and blood figures hit the pavement, we can almost hear the bones crunch, and it isn't funny. Take, for example, the scene in Home Alone 2, where Kevin lures the crooks into trying to crawl down a rope from the top of a 4-story townhouse. He has soaked the rope in kerosene, and when they're halfway down, he sets it on fire. Ho ho! The movie repeats the formula of the best-selling original film. Is this a children's movie? I confess I do not know. Millions of kids will go see it. There used to be movies where it was bad for little kids to hurt grown-ups. Now Kevin bounces bricks off their skulls from the rooftops, and everybody laughs. The question isn't whether the movie will scare the children in the audience. It's whether the adults will be able to peek between their fingers. That's the end of Ebert's review. Home Alone 2 is definitely that old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you want to stay profitable, keep the same format. Hollywood has been doing this forever and continues to. However, it's even worse today, amazingly, where there's very little chances that are taken any longer because movies are too expensive to make. I think maybe it's time for the independent studios to take over large-scale filmmaking, I think, for the sake of the future. And dare I say, maybe just let AI do it. You could do it probably for $50,000, and then you don't have to hear these stupid actors pontificate about how rough life is. Well, they're not going to have jobs pretty soon, so there you go. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into the making of the film. After the surprise hit and mass success of the first Home Alone film, Macaulay Culkin became a superstar. His next film was the coming-of-age story My Girl, which he co-starred with Anna Chlumsky, and that was another hit for Culkin. He also appeared in the Michael Jackson music video for the song Black or White. Michael Jackson actually visited Culkin on the set of Home Alone 2. Culkin's salary was significantly more for the sequel to Home Alone, over $4.5 million more. And while Culkin would continue to act to the present day, nothing will ever top his first 4 films, at least box office-wise, because you had Uncle Buck, My Girl, and the 2 Home Alone films. That was a career basically by itself. Now, Joe Pesci, until the first Home Alone movie, was mostly known as a very heavy, serious actor. He was in films like Raging Bull and Goodfellas. However, people forget one of his early roles was in 1983 with Rodney Dangerfield in the great comedy Easy Money. He would continue the comedic roles for one of his top films of his career, and that was My Cousin Vinny, the same year in 1992. He would also appear again in the third Lethal Weapon movie the same year. For Daniel Stern, after the first Home Alone, he continued to have more success in films, with arguably his best-known role coming in 1991 as one of Billy Crystal's best friends in City Slickers. He would also continue as the adult narrator of the Kevin Arnold character in the Wonder Years series until the show ended in 1993. For director Chris Columbus, he followed up with the original Home Alone by collaborating again with John Hughes, and this was for the 1991 film Only the Lonely, starring John Candy, which didn't do horrible at the box office, but really it's often forgotten. Columbus would do just fine at the box office with Home Alone 2 and then Mrs. Doubtfire. For John Hughes, who wrote the sequel to Home Alone, he would stop directing altogether after 1991's Curly Sue, and decided to just concentrate on screenplay writing, as he preferred being creative and having more opportunities to write scripts, as opposed to spending way too much time connected to just one film when he had to direct them. He felt once a script was done, he could then quickly move on to another project, and it's really hard to disagree with his logic. After he wrote the original Home Alone, well, his theory kind of proved correct, because he wrote 5 films before Home Alone 2 came out. Those were Career Opportunities, Only the Lonely, Dutch, Curly Sue, and Beethoven. All right, let's get into the film. So it opens at the McAllister home in Chicago, the same house where Kevin was left alone the year prior. It's the same chaos as the beginning of the first film. This time, instead of going to Paris, the family is going to go to Florida for the Christmas holiday. And just like the first film, Kevin's parents, specifically his dad, Peter, played by John Hurd, makes a mistake by accidentally unplugging the alarm clock the night before the trip. You can guess where this is headed. Kevin is already not thrilled that there won't be any snow or Christmas trees in Florida, but his mom, Kate, played by Catherine O'Hara, calms him down by saying, well, look, they're going to have a good time. One of Kevin's biggest adversaries is his Uncle Frank, played by Jerry Bamman. Kevin needs to grab a tie from the bathroom where his Uncle Frank is taking a shower. That doesn't go well, but it does set up a great scene later in the film.
How's this?
Oh, much better.
Hey, Kevin, you better go put your tie on. We don't want to be late for the Christmas pageant.
My tie's in the bathroom. I can't go in there because Uncle Frank's taking a shower. He says if I walked in there and saw him naked, I'd grow up never feeling like a real man. Whatever that means.
Well, I'm sure he was kidding. Just run in there, get your tie, get out, and don't look at anything.
Well, this cat they're talking about, I wonder who could it be? 'Cause I'm the heaviest cat you ever did see. When they see me walking down the street, none of the fellas want to speak. Hey, on their faces they wear a silly smirk, 'cause they know I'm the king of the cool jack.
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly! Oh, you're cooking, Frankie!
Kevin's new favorite gadget is his handheld tape recorder, which he used to tape Uncle Frank's stellar singing and rant. At the Christmas school pageant, Kevin sang a solo from the choir, but his brother Buzz, played by David Rattray, who was standing behind him, made the crowd laugh with funny gestures behind Kevin. Kevin then discovers what was going on, pushes Buzz, and the entire choir falls over like a stack of dominoes. Of course, Kevin is the one blamed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'd like to apologize to my family for whatever displeasure I might have caused you.
What?
My prank was immature and ill-timed.
Immature or not, it was pretty gall-darn hilarious.
I'd also like to apologize to my brother. Kevin, I'm sorry.
Oh, Buzz. That was very nice. Kevin, do you have something to say?
Beat that, you little trout sniffer.
I'm not sorry. I did what I did because Buzz humiliated me. And since he gets away with everything, I'll let him have it. And since you're also stupid to believe his lies, I don't care if your idiotic Florida trip gets wrecked or not. Who wants to spend Christmas in a tropical climate anyway?
Kevin!
Kevin, you walk out of here. You sleep on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, with me. So what else is new?
You'd better not wreck my trip, you little sourpuss. Your dad's paying good money for it.
Oh, wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate.
What a troubled young man.
Kevin is, of course, right in his assessment, but that's just the way things work out for some folks. The family goes to sleep for the night, and we see from a newspaper headline that the infamous Wet Bandits, which are Harry, Joe Pesci, and Marv, Daniel Stern, have escaped from prison. The morning comes, and everyone is late because the alarm never went off. A montage involving a mad dash, of course that occurs, but this time, unlike the first film, Kevin is not forgotten, and he's safely on the shuttle to the airport. So this time, Kevin gets lost at the airport while rummaging through his dad's bag for fresh batteries for his tape recorder. And everyone gets on the plane, of course, but Kevin. Kevin does get on a plane, but it's for New York, not Florida, as Kevin only sees the back of a man who has the same coat as his dad. It's happened yet again to Kevin. Kevin arrives in New York and can't find anyone in his family at the terminal. His family arrives in Florida, and they discover just the same thing. And we get Catherine O'Hara's patented line.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here. Kevin's not here.
What?
So Kevin goes to the airline customer service agent, who is played in a great cameo by Ali Sheedy.
Excuse me, but this is an emergency.
Yes, sir?
What city is that over there?
That's New York, sir.
Yikes, I did it again.
Is something wrong, sir?
I'll be fine.
Kevin, instead of being scared, he's thrilled about being in New York City alone. Plus, the bag he took was his dad's, which had all the spending cash in it for the trip, which was supposed to be for the entire family. So Kevin takes a cab from the airport to downtown and goes sightseeing. In the meantime, Kate and Peter go to the police to try to locate Kevin.
What's the child's name?
Kevin.
Kate.
Evie.
When did you see him last?
Curbside check-in?
No, I saw him at the door. He was with us in the terminal.
Most people get separated at security checkpoints. Did everyone get through security?
I don't know.
We were
Peter.
in a hurry. We had to run all the way to the gate.
When did you notice he was missing?
When we picked up our baggage here.
Has the boy ever run away from home?
No.
Has he ever been in a situation where he's been on his own?
As a matter of fact, this has happened before. It's becoming sort of a McAllister family travel tradition.
Funnily enough, we never lose our luggage.
He was left at home by accident last year.
Yeah, that's what my wife meant when she said it's becoming a McAllister family travel tradition.
We'll call Chicago and notify him of the situation. The odds are that's where he is.
Thanks.
Very unlikely he'd be anywhere else.
Famous last words, as now Kevin is roaming the streets of New York City, and so are Kevin's old buddies.
Here we are, Marv. New York City, the land of opportunity. Smell that? Yeah. You know what that is?
Fish.
It's freedom.
No, it's fish.
It's freedom. And it's money.
Okay. It's freedom.
Come on, let's get out of here before somebody sees us.
And it's fish.
Yep, one quick score. We get ourselves a couple of phony passports, and we hightail it to some foreign country.
Arizona?
That's very smart, Marv. You bust out of jail to rob 14 cents from a Santa Claus?
Every little bit helps. Besides, now we got our new nickname. We're the Sticky Bandits.
Real cute. Very cute. Huh?
And by putting tape on his hands, now the wet bandits are the sticky bandits. Kevin walks to Central Park and sees a strange woman who has pigeons all over her. He freaks out and races to the Plaza Hotel because he saw a commercial on TV about the Plaza when he was still in Chicago. While crossing the street to go to the Plaza, Harry and Marv walk by Kevin, but can't quite remember who the kid was because it couldn't possibly be that same kid from Chicago. When Kevin arrives at the spacious hotel, he runs into a man who tells him where to go and check in. And that cameo would be from the actual owner of the Plaza Hotel at the time, Donald Trump. Trump would eventually sell the hotel in 1995. So in real life, Trump agreed to let director Chris Columbus film in the lobby and one of the main suites of the Plaza in exchange for letting Trump have a cameo in the film. By using his tape recorder and slowing down the speed of the tape, Kevin phones up the Plaza Hotel and places a reservation. However, the concierge of the hotel, Mr. Hector, played by Tim Curry, is immediately suspicious of Kevin and vows to keep an eye on him.
Yes, 2 at 8, Henri. Mr. Yamamoto. Hold on a sec. I'll call you back, Henri.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Reservation for McAllister?
A reservation for yourself?
Ma'am, my feet are hardly touching the ground. I'm barely able to look over this counter. How could I make a reservation for a hotel room? Think about it. A kid going into a hotel, making a reservation? I don't think so.
I'm confused.
I'm traveling with my dad. He's on business. He's at a meeting. I hate meetings. Plus, I'm not allowed to go in. I can only sit in the lobby. That's boring. So my dad dropped me off here. Gave me his credit card and said whoever was checking people in to let me in the hotel room so I won't get into mischief. And ma'am, sometimes I do get into mischief. We all do.
Merry Christmas. No sign of him. We're gonna have to be able to get a hold of you. You have hotel arrangements?
Yeah.
Do you have a recent photo of the boy?
I have one in my wallet. I don't have my wallet. My wallet's in my bag. Kevin was looking in my bag at the airport. He was looking for batteries. Kevin has my wallet.
Did you have credit cards in the wallet?
Credit cards, money.
We'll notify the credit card companies immediately. If your son has the cards, we can get a location on him, when and if he uses them.
No, I don't think Kevin even knows how to use a credit card.
Well, weren't.
Cedric,
Yes?
don't count your chips in public. And find out everything you can about that young fellow.
Front, please.
Enjoy your stay with us. And don't forget to remind your dad when he arrives that he has to come down and sign a couple of things.
Thank you. You've been most helpful.
May I take your bag, sir? Up here to your left. You know, Herbert Hoover once stayed here on this floor.
The vacuum guy?
No, the president. This is one of our finest suites, sir.
This is great. Wow, huge bed just for me. Luxurious and spacious. How convenient. Hey,
Did you want me to put the key in the bag? Or did you just want to hang on to it?
I'll hang on to it.
Is everything all right, sir? Is the temperature in the room okay?
It's okay.
Do you know how the TV works?
I'm 10 years old. TV's my life.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry. And there's plenty more where that came from.
Cedric, or Cedric, is played by Rob Schneider. And his tip, well, it was a stick of gum, which is all he actually deserves after he attempted to snoop around in Kevin's bag. Kevin has fun doing cannonballs in the indoor pool, but really his favorite pastime is watching old films on video while eating lots of junk food. And for this movie, it's the sequel to Angels with Filthy Souls, titled Angels with Even Filthier Souls.
Hold it right there.
It's me, Johnny.
I knew it was you. I could smell you getting off the elevator.
2 scoops, sir?
2, make it 3. I'm not driving.
It's gardenias, Johnny. Your favorite.
You was here last night, too, wasn't you?
I was singing at the Blue Monkey last night.
She was not. She was smooching with your brother.
You was here. And you was smooching with my brother.
That's a dirty, rotten lie, Johnny.
Don't give me that. You've been smooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo, Little Mo with the gimpy leg, Cheeks, Boney Bob, Cliff. I could go on forever, baby.
You got me all wrong.
All right. I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't.
Johnny, you're the only duck in my pond.
Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
Baby, I'm over the moon for you.
You gotta do better than that.
If my love was an ocean, Lindy'd have to take 2 airplanes to get across it.
Maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe you. That's why I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, 4-flushing carcass out my door.
She's rat bait.
1, 2. 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
It's the best. Of all the gags in the Home Alone films, Johnny the Gangster, that will always be my favorite. The next of Kevin's greatest hits is to use his tape recorder to fool Mr. Hector, who enters Kevin's room as, quote-unquote room service. Kevin uses the recording from earlier in the film of his Uncle Frank singing in the shower, and then uses a blow-up Santa on strings to dance in the shower. The payoff being when Uncle Frank shouts, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert!" Or, "I'm going to slap you silly." Mr. Hector can't get out of the room fast enough. So while Kevin is living in luxury in New York, the rest of the family in Florida is dealing with heavy rain, and they're cramped in a motel. Kevin also puts one over on Mr. Hector.
Mr. McAllister?
Excuse me.
Sure.
And how are we this morning?
Fine. Is my transportation here?
Out in front, sir. A limousine and a pizza. Compliments of the Plaza Hotel. I do hope your father understands that last night I was simply checking the room to make sure everything was in order.
Oh, he was pretty mad.
He was.
He said he didn't come all the way to New York to get his naked rear end spied on.
Of course not. Will he be down soon?
He already left.
Oh, I would have liked to have offered my personal apology.
If some guy looked at you in the shower, would you ever want to see him again?
I suppose not.
I don't think you'll see him for the rest of our trip.
I understand.
Bye.
So Kevin decides to ride around town in his limo with a large cheese pizza, his favorite. His first stop is a toy store, of course. What Kevin doesn't realize is that Mr. Hector has discovered that Kevin's dad's credit card is now flagged as stolen. Also, what Kevin doesn't realize is that the Sticky Bandits are now planning on robbing the same toy store that he visited on Christmas Eve, Duncan's Toy Chest. While they plan their robbery, Kevin meets the owner of the toy store, Mr. Duncan, played by Eddie Bracken. You might remember him in some early great screwball comedies from Preston Sturges, but he also played Roy Wally in the Vacation movie from 1983.
Marv. Hey, nice house, but there's no bathroom in it. All right, so what's the plan?
Everybody leaves for a nice holiday off. We come out of our little houses.
Yeah, then what?
We empty the registers and walk out like we own the joint.
Great plan, Harry.
Shake his hand.
Oh, well, now, thank you, and Merry Christmas. Say hello to the family.
I will.
Let me see. You shopping alone?
In New York? Sir, I'm afraid of my own shadow.
Well, I was just checking.
That's very responsible of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
My pleasure.
That'll be $23.75. My, where did you get all that money?
I have a lot of grandmothers.
Oh, well, that explains it.
This is a really nice store. One of the finer toy dealerships I've ever visited in my life.
Oh, well, thank you.
This Mr. Duncan must be a pretty nice guy, letting all the kids come into his store and play with all his toys. Most toy stores prohibit that, you know?
Oh, is that so?
Yep.
Well, he loves kids. As a matter of fact, all the money the store takes in today, Mr. Duncan is donating it to the Children's Hospital. And the day after Christmas, we empty out all the money in the cash register, and Mr. Duncan just takes it right down to the hospital.
That's very generous of him.
Ah, well, children bring him a lot of joy, as they do to everyone who appreciates them.
I'm not supposed to spend this money, but I have $20 from shoveling snow in a jar in our garage where my older brother can't find it. So I can pay my mother back with that. So you can give this to Mr. Duncan. The hospital needs it more than I do. Besides, I'm probably going to spend it on stuff that'll rot my teeth and my mind.
That's very sweet of you. You see that tree there? Well, to show our appreciation for your generosity, I'm going to let you select an object from that tree that you can take home with you.
For free?
Well, yeah. May I make a suggestion?
Okay.
Take the turtle doves.
I could have two?
Well, 2 turtle doves. And I tell you what you do. You keep one, and you give the other one to a very special person. You see, turtle doves are a symbol of friendship and love. Now, as long as each of you have your turtle dove, you'll be friends forever.
Wow, I never knew that. I thought they were just part of a song.
They are. And for that very special reason.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Be sure to bundle up if you go outside. It's a little nippy.
Oh, I'll do that.
Eddie Brackett is definitely my favorite character in the film. So Kevin leaves the toy store feeling great about life and the holiday, but that joy quickly disappears when Harry and Marv recognize Kevin standing on the sidewalk outside the store. They try to snatch him, but Kevin's too quick and then buys some cheap pearl necklaces from a street vendor, breaks them up, and spreads them on the sidewalk, which of course causes the guys to take a flying tumble. All right, there's about an hour left, and now that Kevin knows that his old arch enemies are in town, he's going to have to be on high alert. Also, he'll have to battle Mr. Hector at the hotel. However, he'll find an unexpected ally in Central Park. If you haven't seen the film, well, you're just going to have to check out the movie yourself for the enjoyable second act. So does Home Alone 2 fall into the same traps as most sequels? Of course it does. And it also does by extending the film to be 20 minutes longer. And that's not to say that the film isn't fun, because really it is. But the surprise of what could happen, well, it's just not there because you already know from the original film. And look, I don't blame Hughes or Columbus for this. They add enough new gags and plot lines to keep it from being a complete rehash, but you know, they still give kids and fans of the first film what they expect out of Kevin McAllister. And especially with the sticky bandit scenes, even when you know it's coming, it's kind of part of the charm. For some of the booby traps, it's easy to forget which film they're actually from, the first or the second. And so here are some of those funny gags from the final hour.
I've committed credit card fraud.
Get me security! We've got to stop that delinquent! Come along, Cedric.
I've had enough of this vacation. I'm going home.
Hold it right there.
This is the concierge, sir.
I knew it was you. I could smell you getting off the elevator. You was here last night, too, wasn't you?
Yes, sir. I was.
You was here, and you was smooching with my brother.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir.
Don't give me that. You've been smooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo, Little Mo with the gimpy leg, Cheeks, Bony Bob, Cliff.
No. It's a lie.
I could go on forever, baby.
I'm terribly sorry, sir, but I'm afraid you're mistaken. We're looking for a young man.
All right. I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me.
On your knees? I love you.
You gotta do better than that.
I love you.
Maybe I'm off my hinges, but I believe you. That's why I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, four-flushing carcass out my door. 1, 2. 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And a Happy New Year.
in your rooms! This is an emergency! There's an insane guest with a gun!
We'd like to offer you a complimentary suite while you're here. It's a penthouse with a view of the park. I think you'll find it satisfactory. It was recently vacated by the Countess of Worcestershire.
What kind of hotel allows a child to check in alone?
The boy had a very convincing story.
What kind of idiots do you have working here?
The finest in New York.
Well, I mean, when you discovered that the credit card was stolen, what?
I made the discovery.
Why did you let him leave?
When we attempted to confront him, he ran.
You scared him away.
It's Christmas Eve, and because of you, our child is lost in one of the biggest cities in the world.
Could you take our family and our luggage up to the room, please?
Yes, sir. Run along, Cedric.
I'm going to go down to the police station and make sure that they're doing everything in their power to find Kevin. I want you to stay here with Frank, Leslie, and the kids.
No, I'm going out to look for him.
What?
With all due respect, madam, your son is lost in one of the biggest cities in the world.
Could you stay out of this, please?
As you wish.
Thank you. I don't think it's a good idea for you to start running around all over New York City all by yourself.
I think if our son can do it, I can do it. Okay, but Peter, I'll be fine. The way I'm feeling right now, no mugger or murderer would dare mess with me.
Madam, there are hundreds of parasites out there, armed to the teeth. Do bundle up. It's awfully cold outside.
All right, some fun facts. So according to Joe Pesci, the crew covered him and Daniel Stern with real birdseed and about 300 pigeons during the attack scene at the end of the film. Stern said that a pigeon really flew into his mouth, and he said that was revolting. Because of the cold temperatures when they were filming, several cameras froze during production. All of the children who appeared in the toy store scene were allowed to take their favorite toy home as part of their salary. Even though it didn't work and was created specifically for the movie as a prop, Macaulay Culkin was allowed to keep the Talk Boy tape recorder. Chris Columbus recalls that the production spent a lot of money on artificial snow for Central Park, and then New York City had a real-life blizzard. After one scene, Macaulay Culkin asked Joe Pesci why he never smiled, and Pesci told him to shut up. At the time, Pesci was saying that Macaulay Culkin was being pampered by a lot of people, but not me, and I think he likes that. Entertainment Weekly had a real medical doctor analyze the effects of Harry and Marv's injuries. According to the physician, bricks to the face would have caused, at best, brain damage, and at worst, death. The Plaza Hotel used to offer the Home Alone experience around Christmas time, where the guests could pay to stay in a room similar to the room in which Kevin stayed. And they would receive Home Alone gifts, including the movies, and they'd take a limousine and see some of the filming locations, including the toy store where Duncan's Toy Chest was based. So if you're wondering, Kevin's room service bill indicates that he spent $967 on 2 chocolate cakes, 6 chocolate mousses with chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry ice cream topped with M&Ms, chocolate sprinkles, cherries, nuts, marshmallows, caramel syrup, chocolate syrup, strawberry syrup, whipped cream, and bananas, 6 custard flans, a pastry cart, 8 strawberry tarts, and 36 chocolate-covered strawberries. Chris Columbus recalls during filming, I was up on 140th Street in Harlem. It was 3 a.m, and I was waking up to get a cup of coffee. These 2 young kids came up to me and they said, "What's the name of the movie?" And I said, "Home Alone 2. And they said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm the director." And they said, "Oh, you're John Hughes." So during production, John Hughes wrote drafts for Home Alone 3, in which Macaulay Culkin would return as a teenage Kevin McAllister. When he found out Culkin quit acting in 1994, he rewrote the story from scratch. Tim Curry, Macaulay Culkin, and Joe Pesci reportedly turned down the roles in The Lion King to do this film instead. During filming, John Hughes showed Daniel Stern a script that he wrote called The Bee. He asked Stern to direct the film because Stern had wanted to direct a feature film for some time. But Stern instead decided to direct the film Rookie of the Year in 1993 to be more independent of collaborating with Hughes, because after Home Alone's surprise massive success. Rookie of the Year was released 8 months after this film, and despite getting some respectable reviews, it really didn't do very well at the box office, and Stern decided to take an indefinite hiatus from directing. Hughes was also busy with making Dennis the Menace from 1993, so the project was shelved and ultimately never made, which is a bummer. We're going to cover Rookie of the Year at some point on this podcast, maybe in a few years. So there was an original plan for John Candy to make a cameo, but Candy was bitter about how little money he received from the first film's cameo, which again was one of the top films. It was the top film of 1990, and then he just refused to do the sequel. If you didn't know, Kate Hudson has an uncredited role as a choir singer in the Christmas pageant scene. She says she still receives residuals for the role to this day. Gene Wilder was considered for the Mr. Duncan role. All right, just like in the first film, I'm not going to make any changes. I'm going to bring back on Stephen Michael to talk about the sequel because he talked about the first film. So, I'm guilty of doing the same things, right? I repeat things. We all do. So let's talk to Stephen now. And I'll be back next week to talk about yet another random movie from my DVD collection. Okay, we're back with Stephen Michael from the Grown Up Rock podcast. Welcome back, Stephen.
Brian Davis, you filthy animal. How you doing, baby?
Oh, Stephen with dirty faces. I always love having you on. So you guessed it on the episode where we, of course, covered the first Home Alone. So if you can remember, were you excited about the sequel, or by this point where you're just like, how can they possibly do a sequel for this film?
Honestly, I do not recall the timing of all of it, so I can't say what my headset was like when that was going on.
Do you think you saw it in the theater probably still?
What year?
This would be 93, I believe. Or no, 92.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a good chance that I saw that in the theater. Yeah.
So, like we were talking about this bit off air, but like a lot of sequels, this film does not break any new ground at all, with the exception of, moving the location. John Hughes and Chris Columbus being the director, totally went with the if it ain't broke, don't fix it route. So, which definitely worked financially for this film. Were you fine with this, or do you wish it was different?
You know what this made me realize, Brian? It made me realize that Hollywood hasn't had any good new ideas for much longer than I thought.
Absolutely.
I thought it was more recently, to like the last 20 years, but no, this actually has been going on for a lot longer than I anticipated.
Well, if you have a movie studio and it is about making money. At the end of the day, if you don't make money, you're not going to have a movie. They weren't going to probably break new ground here. They wanted something that worked, and just change a little something, and you're going to get exactly the same thing. I mean, this happened with The Hangover. The Hangover is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I think to your point. Okay, so here's the thing. Certain movies, I think, paint themselves into a corner, and it would be difficult to write a totally new script that would break new ground on an idea. Mm-hmm. Hangover is a perfect example of that. Home Alone is another good example of that. Whereas, let's say something like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Because of the type of movie it is, you can write a new script, a new caper, a new issue. You can introduce a new character that makes things interesting. So to me, Lethal Weapon 1 and Lethal Weapon 2, they're new movies. They are the Lethal Weapon franchise, but they're good. It's Lethal Weapon 2 is not Lethal Weapon 1 over again. Whereas Home Alone, it's very hard to do that, right? Because I mean, how could you possibly leave the kid at home and the kid looked like he didn't age an hour? He's still the same age. Yeah. And then my other issue is this is going off script. I don't want to get too far, but
no, it's okay.
How in the hell can you end up in a completely different city, a city like New York with how many millions of people, and the two idiots that just happen to break in your home in Chicago, Illinois, end up in New York? And okay, they're not just in the same city, they actually ran into you. Come on, man. So it's just stupid stuff like that. And then they didn't even try to really introduce any new characters, right? You had the old homeless guy that people were scared of, or neighbor, whatever he was, neighbor guy. Yeah. And they just basically took him out of the picture and replaced it with an old homeless woman who everybody was scared of. So they didn't even try to create like a new persona or a new character. Well, hell, they should have just had the old scary guy move to the city, and he was in New York too. You know,
but by then Kevin was already, not scared of him. So you needed to have a big, a lady that was filled with like pigeon poop, stuff like that.
That was the other thing I was watching. I was like, oh man, can you imagine? Like her little coat was completely clean. I was like, oh, that's completely false.
Exactly.
That's movie magic. And then I'm thinking, man, can you imagine the stench coming off of that? Come on, man.
I think you have patient 0 for the bird flu right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I just certain things like that, like, anyway, you're going to ask me at the end of this whole thing at some point whether I enjoyed this movie. And
no, I'm not going to do it now. You've ruined it.
Yeah, you will eventually, and I'll answer that at a point because it's going to sound like I didn't enjoy this movie. And anyway, go ahead.
Well, so something that just dawned on me. So you bring up a great point. So you mentioned Lethal Weapon, and that's a perfect example where you have characters where you could build around. Where I think the action version of this might be ridiculous, but we still enjoy the films, is Die Hard. Because that was a situation where, Bruce Willis is put into like a really crazy situation, just like Kevin is in Home Alone. But they still made 4 Die Hard movies. And it's kind of ridiculous that John McClane ends up in, these ridiculous situations too. So Kevin's almost the same way with that, I guess, if you want to go that route.
You're really not wrong about that, and it kind of shoots holes in my original thought process. But you're not wrong about that. And guess what? All the 4 Die Hards were different, and all the 4 Die Hards were good.
Yeah, true.
So, and I mean that's not the case with some of the Home Alones further on down the road. And maybe that's because they don't keep the original kid. I don't know, but mark my words, I will almost guarantee you, with the way Hollywood is today, especially with the fact that they did another Christmas Story. They did another Christmas Story with a lot of the original actors as adults, right? That got released last year or the year before. They will make another Home Alone, and they will talk Macaulay into doing it because they'll pay him some stupid amount of money to do it. And it will be successful. Will it be good? I don't know. It depends on the script, but I guarantee you Hollywood will get that done around Christmas time in some future year. Watch.
Some nostalgia, you're right, or AI will do it, and maybe he'll forever remain a kid. Who knows? So who knows what's going to happen with that? Did you like that New York City was the main setting here? Because I guess New York City as itself is kind of like a main character.
I did sort of like that because last year, I'll just share. Last year it was a bucket list of mine to go to New York during the Christmas season because I want to see all the lights and Radio City Music Hall and stuff like that. Like, I've been to New York many times, but I've never been to New York during that period of time. So my wife and I went last year, as a matter of fact. We went for 3 days during Christmas. It was like, first couple weeks of December or something, but all the lights were up, all the trees were up, everything was up. It was crowded as hell. Oh my God. So crowded. Like I did that and I'm good, but I'll never need to do it again. Not at Christmas time. You can go to the Plaza Hotel because still there, obviously today, and still existing and still expensive as shit. Like I listened to that was some of the things in the movie that hit me. I listened to some of the prices and shit, and I'm like, shit, you can't get that these days for that. Like, his long room service bill with all this stuff, and I think the total was like $780 or something like that. And I'm like, that's like a $5,000 bill today, guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, it's 30 plus years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed that's a $5,000 bill. And you can't get into the Plaza. I don't think for less than like $700 a night, $800 a night, and that's when it's that's probably a decent
Off season.
deal.
Yeah.
But if you go to the plaza today, they have artifacts from this movie.
Oh, cool.
Like they have them encased in glass and stuff. Like I don't know, just various things from the movie itself.
Oh, that's cool. That's some good trivia.
Yeah.
So for a comedy, and you and I have always said this, 90 minutes is the absolute sweet spot. Home Alone 2 hits exactly the 2-hour mark. Was that a mistake? And do you think the film dragged at all because of that?
No, I didn't feel that. Yeah, you and I have discussed that before, and comedies, it depends on the type of comedies, but to me, comedies are a hit it and get it kind of thing, and 90 minutes is good. An hour and 40 tops is good. This one at 2 hours, I didn't feel that it dragged, and I didn't really notice it. But you're right. It was 2 hours and 4 minutes or something like that. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. So even though the kind of subterfuge in the hotel was very much like the first film, you just basically take it from the house to the hotel. I did find Tim Curry and Rob Schneider really amusing as the hotel workers. Did you enjoy those moments? And what moments were your favorite in the sequel?
Yeah, so I agree with that. I did enjoy Tim Curry's character, and Rob Schneider's character was short, but yeah, it was there. Especially when he's getting gum put in his hand.
Yeah, for the tip.
Times. But I enjoyed the Tim Curry character. One of my favorite moments is the Tim Curry character going into the room while he's got the thing in the shower, singing, and
you little pervert.
Yeah, pervert, and hit the look on his face and stuff like that. It was priceless. So that was a good moment. Some of the other moments in the film itself, it never gets old with some of the traps that Kevin sets up for Pesci and Stern. It never. I can see it a million times. It's like slapstick, and even though a lot of the gimmicks were very similar to the ones in the first movie, it's still funny. I mean, it really is quite classic moments and stuff. So
the gangster film, which is really not a real gangster film, which we talked about on the first film. I always thought it was a real movie, but no, they basically made that gangster film, from scratch for that. So they brought that back. So Kevin had a videotape of it. You mentioned it. Part of it, they bring back Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern as the villains. Was it important to bring them back to the sequel, or would it have been better for Kevin to take on a new set of foes? I think artistically it would be, but we talked about the money. There was no way they were going to bring back Pesci and Stern.
That's an interesting question. So it's hard to see anybody other than Pesci and Stern in that role now at this point, right? So there is part of that. But there's also a side of me that says, there's so many great actors out there, comedic actors, etc. You couldn't find two that would do a great job and create a whole new role for them. I think the answer is you could, but then I also view some big fat studio exec going, I'm not giving you the green light on this movie if Pesci and Stern aren't in it.
Right.
So I can see both sides of the story. People, studios, they want a sure thing. They don't want chances. They don't want to take a chance on something. Me as a moviegoer, we want a chance because it ain't my money. You know what I mean?
And I think, especially like Pesci, because by this point he's already been in Goodfellas. Like he's an amazing actor. This is a paycheck for him.
Oh, completely. It's hard for me. Like I said, it's had the story been written differently and there was a way to utilize those two characters. Like, okay, they could have had cutaway scenes to Pesci and Stern in jail.
Right.
And maybe that was where their parts were playing out, them in jail, as opposed to creating a whole thing where they're, coming to a town, all these, hundreds of miles away from Chicago and running into, it's just not believable when you're looking at it. It's kind of like, okay, come on. So I think, what I might have done as a writer, Monday morning quarterback type thing, I would have said, okay, let's have some scenes with Pesci and Stern so that they're part of the story in the jail, and their comedic performances happen amongst the jail and the inmates, and maybe they make a call to their brother and cousin that lives in New York.
Yes.
Enter in these new comedic faces who could have been, who would you have put in that comedic role?
Well,
What would
what would have happened? They would have just played dual roles. That's what Hollywood would have done.
Well, there's something that's true, but let's say you're the casting director, Brian. What two actors would you have put in the new roles in New York as cousins to Stern and Pesci? Who would you have put there?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm trying to think of some of the good villains of the era. So you can make them younger, because you could think of some of the John Hughes. Because if you want to stick to like the John Hughes, I think it would be fun if you went to the John Hughes universe. Like maybe you had like Anthony Michael Hall be the Daniel Stern character, or you had Judd Nelson be the Pesci role, or something like that, or have an eternal bad guy from one of the great John Hughes past movies where it could maybe work.
That's right. Or you could have Billy Crystal in the Daniel Stern.
Yes.
Billy Crystal in the Daniel Stern role as his cousin or his brother, and the cousin. And the cousin or brother of Pesci would be somebody like a Judd Nelson, or let's say
De Niro. If they could get De Niro, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been probably too expensive budget. But they could get maybe somebody like Matthew Broderick or John Cryer or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Oh, yeah. I mean, just having, or do like Midnight Run again, where you had Charles Grodin and De Niro back.
God, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, but I like that. Yeah, I mean, that could have been really funny, I think. But again, to the point, the budget would have been way crazy if you started to have big name actors too, and you would have had to at that point.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, sure.
So after this film, Macaulay Culkin he continued to act and appear in films and TV shows, but he never matched his success as a child actor when he became an adult, and that's not that's not uncommon. It's hard. Would you argue that his brothers Kieran and Rory kind of had more successful careers as a whole, ironically? Because I think Macaulay was just kind of cursed by his own success as a child actor. What's your take?
I think you nailed it. I think that's 100%. Yeah, I would say that Karen has a more respectful career as an actor. And yeah, I mean, that's what happens to a lot of the childhood actors, which is why so many of them end up in trouble or end up dead, unfortunately, is because they have all this success at an early age, and all the pressure, all the money is given to them at an early age when their brains are unable to handle that. I mean, that's just a basic scientific fact, right? You're not developed at that age. You can't deal with the pressures of a 40-year-old person at 16, 17, 18 years old, or even 21.
Right.
So this is the problem that happens. And yeah, I think especially, I don't know that much about Rory, to be honest. I don't know what kind of career and what he's done, but I know that I've seen Kieran Culkin in a lot of things, most recently and most successfully. The one that sticks to my mind is Succession on HBO. He's great. He was fantastic in that. So
for those that really like heavy metal, there was a kind of a black metal take on some of the Norwegian black metal bands called Lords of Chaos that came out in 2018, and Rory starred in that, and he got some critical acclaim for that. You might like that. You won't like the music, but it's a good film.
I want to say I've already seen that, but I didn't know it was Rory Culkin that was in that.
And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Bonnie Bedelia, the actor, that's their aunt, the Culkin's aunt.
Oh no, I did not know that.
Yeah. So definitely the acting was in their blood for sure.
Yeah.
By Home Alone 2, John Hughes decided to stop directing films. He was only focusing on writing scripts instead, and because he felt he could be far more productive writing screenplays instead of spending tons of time trying to direct a film. We kind of mentioned this over the years. He was unmatched when it came to his speed of writing, especially in the 80s. However, he really never matched the iconic scripts from the 80s. And then when he got into the 90s, started writing a lot of adaptations and kids films. Were you disappointed, or did you even care that he never kind of matched his 80s output? Or by that time, had you already moved on to other things?
Well, so the answer to that is yes, all of the above. So, and I think it really, honestly, I think it's less about talent and more about timing.
Yeah.
And here's why I say that. So, in the 80s, when he had all that success, the success was because of people like me that were of that age. So I identified with everything that he was writing. I identified with the Breakfast Clubs and the Pretty in Pinks and 16 Candles, etc. I identified with all of that. Plus, there were so many great one-liners and all that.
Oh, yeah.
And then as time goes on, obviously I get older, right? The demographic gets older, which is me from the 80s. That demographic gets older, so you tend to move on. And then also society changes as a whole. If you look at what would be considered today's gen piece in a show like, what is it, Europa or Utopia? Or you know what I'm talking about? Which like, the things that go on in that show, I'm kind of like, holy shit, nothing was like
Euphoria.
That when
It's Euphoria with Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, like I watched that and I'm like, oh my God, like nothing was ever like this when I was growing up. So
no way.
Times have changed. We've all changed. And so obviously the writing has changed, and the people that are writing that today are much younger than the ones that came up on John Hughes flicks like myself,
Yeah. Yep. That's true. So you kind of alluded to this, there were additional Home Alone films with an all new cast. I never bothered to see those. John Hughes actually did write the third film, which had all new characters. I'm guessing you didn't see these.
I want to say I saw the third one. I don't know. How many are there? 4 total?
There's 4. So the third one came out in 97, and then Home Alone 4 came out in 2002.
I guarantee you I've seen Home Alone 3, although I could not tell you one iota thing about it. Like, I don't even know what the premise of it is, or I was pretty sure that Macaulay was done after the first 2.
He was, and they did, to his credit, Hughes did write 4 completely different. I mean, there's totally different characters in the third one.
Yeah, and then the fourth one, I couldn't say for sure that I even saw that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, you alluded to it in the beginning. Did you actually like this film? When it comes down to it, I'm assuming you like the first one over the second one, but what's your take?
I didn't turn it off. So the answer is yes, I enjoyed it, because as I mentioned to you earlier, when you're asking me about my favorite parts, no matter how many times Stern or Pesci get hit in the face with a can of paint or lit on fire, it's funny every time. Yeah. It's almost like an ongoing fart joke. It's always going to be funny.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it overall. I enjoyed Tim Curry. I enjoyed it. So just as I watched it, all these things were super blatant, which is my anger for Hollywood not having any creativity, the fact that it's just absurd that, you know, some of the storyline, like, okay, this kid gets to New York on his own, no problem. He's in New York. And then these people that he ended up putting away in jail in Chicago, by the way, end up escaping. No question about how they actually escaped, but they escaped prison somehow in Joliet or wherever they were with the Blues Brothers there in Chicago, locked up in jail. And they make their way to New York for a big caper, because that's their whole point, is that they're there to score again. So it's just, it's insanity to me, some of the stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't turn it off. I kept watching it, and I even laughed a few times. So there you go.
Well, I like our idea too. I mean, they should have done our idea, which is they get their cousins or whatever to come, and then the cousins have to be equally kind of famous actors. So I think that would have been good.
Yeah, it's easy. I'll spurt out thoughts and ideas, and all I require is a couple points off the top of the box office.
There you go. That'd be perfect.
Everybody wins, right?
This is exactly how Hollywood works, unfortunately. So, except I don't think they have that good of ideas.
Yeah, exactly. So why not give me a point or two off the top of the box office, and let me just write things or spurt things from my podcast microphone over the phone lines to Hollywood. What's the problem?
The problem is, once you can do that when you have hits, and then the second you'd have a non-hit, you're already gone. So
then I didn't make as much off the top of the box office, so it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right? That's true. Just go do something else. Well, thank you, Stephen, for watching this, and thank you as always for appearing on the podcast.
Brian Davis, I appreciate it as always. Make sure you duck when the can of paint is coming at your head.
You filthy animal.
See ya.
If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.